Oh, I don't have as much energy or happiness, but it's long-winded Wednesday.
Long-winded Wednesday. Oh no. Hi everyone. How are you?
This is our country and it's on fire. Cause people keep fucking up. Police are making me mad. Okay, I should stop improvising because who knows what's gonna come out of my mouth. Hello.
Go there, Jenny. Let it out. Singing, humming, dancing, as always.
Black Lives Matter doesn't mean that yours doesn't. If I hear that one more time, I'm gonna punch the wall.
That's so real.
If all lives matter, then why didn't you wear masks when you could get people sick? Okay, yeah, I need to stop. Hello?
You take a deep breath?
Yeah, it's Long-Winded Wednesday. I have a lot of emotions today. I'm all over the place. So Maren's gonna help me ground because that's her superpower.
I'll receive that. Yeah, I was thinking about it already anyway. I'm like, we just all need to breathe a little bit more. Like, let's stop, just take a deep breath and like remember. So yeah, I think we're both standing so we can both just feel the connection of the earth and just a deep breath. A breath in.
Yeah, if you're with me, if you're with me out there, can you breathe with us? Maybe you do your breath too. Yes, okay, so take a deep breath.
Yeah, you're all invited. That's the idea. We're doing a big collective breath, a big long-winded centering breath. Okay, are y'all out there ready? Okay, breathe in and out. We're gonna do another one, and we're gonna hold it a little bit on the top. And then when we release it, if you feel comfortable making out a noise and releasing, you can do that on the second one. Okay, you ready? Breathe in. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. Shake it out. Shake it out. Shake it out. Get out. Yeah. Out of your space. Down your grounding cord. Take a breath. Because we gotta get back in this, y'all. All right.
I'm loving the comments on this so far. Hello, Rauda. Is that how you say it? From Jerusalem, you participated. You're an OG from the original Building Bridges for Peace. That's awesome. Welcome. Hello, Serena. Thank you. Thank you. I do my best to try to improvise.
That's one of your superpowers.
One, thank you. Yeah, to all who are here with us, hello. How are you doing? I wish I could hear you.
Well, really, how are you doing?
Oh, that's good. I like that camera action.
Yeah.
Type it in the comments. How are you doing? Are you like ready to like fight someone? Are you currently weeping? Are you currently checked out, numbed out? I don't know. How are you? Maren, how are you?
How are you, friends? Today I'm feeling somewhat better. I mean, our conversation before this kind of also got me a little riled up, a little more like anxious in my belly. But this morning when I was waking up, I've been slowly processing. I've been very angry, mad, crying, all those things, and have a new kind of understanding of myself in the movement. And I'm feeling very kind of more grounded in purpose that way.
That's good.
Yeah.
Did you say feeling words?
I'm feeling hopeful, not
You can say hopeful.
hopeful. I don't know if it's hopeful though. I just feel convicted and centered. Are those feelings?
Sure. I'm feeling riled up. I'm feeling frustrated, angry. I'm feeling like kind of like I keep banging my head against the wall in terms of what I'm trying to get people to hear and listen to. Feeling in between worlds as someone who is not white, a person of color, brown, not black. So somewhere on that privilege spectrum, I'm trying to hold both worlds and trying to hold tension. I feel like it's necessary. It's necessary for this time right now. And also it's going to be I feel pretty exhausted. And like I know last week I said I was at a 7, and then I reflected on that and I was like, damn, like I really had, that was my privilege showing up because I was not fully really engaging with everything that was going on with George Floyd and everything. And now after a week of really being in it, I'm like, definitely at a 9 or 10. I don't know, in terms of racial battle fatigue. Yeah.
Sorry.
So
those.
many of those. I think what? Breath. I really do want to share with the public who are watching and anybody who tunes in before we start to go into our normal spiel of like chatting, because some of you like pop in and out and that's totally cool, but I want you to hear this. We have some new online trainings that we're going to be offering this summer, in the coming months. We've been working hard this whole quarantine pretty much, trying to figure out how do we move all of our shift services or most of our shift services online? How do we start training more people around diversity, equity, and inclusion? What does that look like? Do we do multiracial spaces? Do we do race-based affinity groups? So this is what we've decided on. This month, and we're going to write this all down, email this, you'll see plenty of flyers this week, next week. This month, we are unrolling our new training. We're still coming up with words for it. Our new monthly training offerings, I'll say, to the public en masse. They're called Building Bridges Groundwork Sessions. So what is a session going to be? It's going to be a 1.5 to 2 hour session focused on really going into privilege and oppression, defining those terms, what those look like for you. And we're going to do them in race-based affinity spaces. So 2 times a month, we're doing the Building Bridges groundwork sessions for white individuals. Maren will be leading that charge along with another white facilitator 2 times a month. The rhythm is going to look like first and third Thursdays. Eventually, but in June and July, it's going to look different. We're going to send you those dates. The first one is when? Can we at least tell them that, Maren?
The 18th.
June 18th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. for the white folks. And we got a parallel track, Building Bridges groundwork session for people of color, which I'm so excited about. One thing we have learned is that when we try to bring multiracial people together for kind of like a foundation course on equity and inclusion and privilege and oppression, pretty much every time there's a high demand for white people. And so there's a majority of white people, and then they end up taking over the space because of a lot of things, because of white supremacy, white privilege, all these things. So then people of color are either trying to educate the whole group, and there's like 3 out of 30 of them, and that's weird and tokenizing, or they're just kind of getting disappearing or being ignored. So this space is for you, people of color, Black, Indigenous people of color. And it's going to be once a month, Building Bridges groundwork session. We're going to go over privilege and oppression. And rather than really focusing on the privilege side of this racial equity piece, we're going into the liberation side. What does it look like to liberate ourselves from oppression, to become stronger leaders of color and start dealing with our internalized racism and all that. So super excited about that. Again, dates coming out soon. There's a second thing, I wrote it all on my whiteboard. The second thing is something called DEI in a Changing World. And this is going to be a multiracial community workshop series. So basically, we feel the need to respond to everything that's going on around the Black Lives Matter movement, a space for people to talk about what does diversity, equity, and inclusion look like right now in this world that looks completely different from January, in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of all that. So we're going to be having some marketing around that. You're going to be able to apply to be part of this cohort. We've already done the 4-part series with people within our Building Bridges community, past facilitators and staff, and it was amazing. And so we're like, we really want to share this with more people. So be on the lookout for that. Again, it's going to be multiracial. Most likely we're going to require that you will have participated in a BB groundwork session before you join us. Okay. And the last thing is, we already have an ongoing training series. Right now, Maren and I have been referring to it as the URL series. Not, it's kind of confusing. It's not a website. It's Uprooted, Rooted, and Liberated. The biggest change around those things, Uprooted is a space for white folks dismantling white supremacy within themselves and external systems. Rooted is a place for all people to deepen the practice of inclusion and equity. Liberated is a place for people of color to liberate themselves and oppressive systems within them. The biggest change is these are no longer going to be one-day trainings to attend in person. We don't feel like that risk is one we're willing to take right now as a staff team and bringing people together, even in the fall of 2020. We don't feel ready to put our staff on the line like that or ask you all to participate and be around other people given the coronavirus. So we will be transitioning those into online cohorts, which feels really exciting to me because we could spend even more time together rather than just one day. And that all is going to be happening this fall. If you have already registered for Uprooted, Rooted, or Liberated, be on the lookout for an email from me explaining the change, explaining what happens if you want to transition your payment, all that. And then there's probably going to be opportunity for new people to register for the fall cohort as well. Last thing I'll say is this is all working to try to really clarify and create a pipeline for people to move through. And we're all about transparency at Building Bridges. So this is kind of like a business behind the scenes detail, but I want you all to know we're trying to be really strategic about how people come into our fold, how people start to learn diversity, equity, and inclusion, especially given that we're seeing a lot of new faces. We're getting a lot of new followers. Amazing. Please share us, continue to share us with your networks. We want to be, Building Bridges wants to be the place for the newbies who are like, what do I do about racism? And the OGs who are like, what does my organization do about racism? I'm ready to take this to the next level. So the Building Bridges Groundworks is going to be that first kind of like space for people to enter into. Pretty low price point in it learning. The next phase is going to be Uprooted and Liberated, because we still feel the need to have race-based affinity groups for that major learning to happen. And then the third stage is going to be a rooted cohort. That cohort, the first one's going to take place in the spring of 2021. Again, as an online. In terms of in-person offerings, we hope that that continues. We really do. We just aren't trying to bank on that right now. Okay, I just took a lot of space.
But it's so exciting.
Yeah, it really is, because it's like no longer am I thinking just Colorado people. How can you get involved? No, like freaking New York people, Chicago people, Elgin people,
Minnesota people,
Minneapolis people, California people, all the states, all the states in other countries. Who knows? Mexico. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Worldwide. What?
Worldwide. Okay, maybe we're getting a little too ahead of ourselves.
We are excited.
We're excited to have this space for people to opt into that's going to start happening this month.
Mhm.
So that took about like the majority of our time, and that's okay. I hope you tuning in are able to like watch this and really get an understanding of what we've been doing. Because this is what our work is centered on, you know, inclusion and equity. I feel like I've been running a marathon. I feel like our organization is one of marathon runners when it comes to racial equity and inclusion. And so we're here for you. We're ready. We have curriculum. We have experience. We have coaches. We have people of multiple racial identities on our staff team ready to serve the community in this way. So join us.
Yeah. And yeah, more info to come.
Yes. So let's
Goes with our topic today of allyship.
It does. Totally. It's a way in which we are doing that. But I do want to hear, Maren, what has allyship looked like for you in the past week? What are you learning?
What am I learning? I'm learning that I am always learning. I am learning.
Sorry, that always happens.
That's okay. It's been a weird kind of dynamic to watch George Floyd and the response unfold after where my journey of understanding myself as a racialized being happened 4 or 5 years ago, and it was on its way or like happening as Philando Castile was killed in Minneapolis. And so I've just been processing what I've experienced before and seeing things very familiar happening in terms of protesting, in terms of the very real like incorrect narratives that are being spun about protesters, about what is or isn't happening on the ground, why folks are angry and out speaking out and saying Black Lives Matter. So it's been like kind of processing where I am now in the movement and really having to investigate what have I learned in 5 years and what have I risked and where am I at in all of this? And part of me is proud and just so grateful to be working with you and with Building Bridges and to really be stepping in this work. Like this is the work that I can offer white folks in the world is to be in the mess of this, of what do I do? How do I do this? And so I've been able to be on calls with white folks and hold space and answer questions but mostly just be like, yeah, me too. Like it's still hard for me to navigate the social media. You and I were kind of talking about that. Like it consumed me over the weekend. And I really had to reflect on that and talked about it in therapy, honestly, around how I'm no good to the movement and I'm no good to what I say my purpose is in this work, in racial justice work, if I'm completely like decapacitated. And so I've really been, COVID started that conversation, especially with us as a staff team of like, what is productivity and what is my role and where can I kind of hold my line of boundaries? And that's just more and more like for us to like plan out what we've planned out and share what we want to offer to the world. Like that is how we are in this, right? Like, and that is how I feel passionate to be in it. Is it's not necessarily what's happening right now in this moment to be out protesting, but it's the long game of, okay, white folks who are here and listening and watching and willing, like, are you going to stay in it? And I'm here to help you stay in it next week, next month, because I can't let 5 more years go where it feels like actually not a ton has changed in myself and the people around me. And yet there's a lot of white folks out there saying stuff and I'm seeing you.
Damn.
Sorry, that was long. We went over. Not yet?
Oh, We're going to 1:15 today.
Okay, good.
We have Latino minutes. Because I took a while with the announcement. So we're going to 1:15. Yeah, today. That's good, Maren. There's some deep reflection right there. I can't let 5 more years go by and this look the same. Let's write that down. Remember? And yeah, I think for me, allyship and advocacy. So those words in general, like 1,000 people are going to disagree with us that those are the words we should be using. That's one thing that's for sure when you're in this fight for a while and you're an inclusion and equity trainer and speaking up on your social medias, all the critics come out of the woodwork. And who have kind of always been there, but whatever. A lot of people are triggered and they're ready to debate now. And I'm not here for debate. I'm only here for dialogue. I'm not trying to debate people on Facebook for free. I'd rather be paid to lead dialogues that actually transform and don't allow people to stay stuck in their triggers behind a screen. So, yeah, I guess I would consider myself an advocate for Latinx people because I identify as part of that group, and that is the oppressed group, but an ally for my Black friends and community members because I'm not Black. And so I've been learning the tension of holding both of those identities. And I've learned a lot about allyship do's and don'ts from my perspective as a Latina. And so what's been weird about this week is really feeling like I have to just start applying those same do's and don'ts to myself. And I haven't thought about that as much, but that's what I'm really seeing, especially Afro-Latinx people asking from non-Black Latinx people. They're saying that we are erasing them and we're not listening and we shouldn't be centering ourselves. We should be uplifting Black voices and Black identities and everything. And I'm listening. I'm like, damn, I think I really need to realize my place in all this and the privileges I do have and how to use those. And I've been recognizing how tired and burnt out and done my Black friends are. And I'm like, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't know. Post, don't post. I don't care. Take care of yourself. And how can I support you? And then it kind of has left me with, okay, let me try to step it up a little bit in terms of my education online towards my friends. And it's happening less around white folks because I'm still like, pay me for that shit. And more around my own people, Latinx people. And I've had so many conversations with my Latina friends this week. They're reaching out to me because they know that I care about this stuff. And they're like, hey, how are you feeling about this? What do you think about the police? What does peacemaking look like? I've been coaching my sisters, which has been amazing because I love them so much, and they're learning and taking change and the systems that they work for, which has been so cool. So it's been a week.
No, we high-fived each other last night too. Like, look at our family though. We did that. We're doing that. Like the power of our sphere and our influence, like that's really kind of come back to light. And again, in reflection of like what my experience was 5 years versus now, and like who is saying stuff, who is showing up, who is reaching out, having questions. We're powerful.
And this is the bare minimum.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah. I feel like I've been reminded of that. I'm like, yeah, it should be expected that I'm talking to my family about this. Yep. Freely, openly, consistently, because I love them so much, because there's such trust built. And not everybody has that relationship with their family to be able to teach them or talk to them about anti-racism. But you might be surprised what happens when you try, especially right now. Chances are a lot of your relatives are thinking about this and want to be able to say something, or even maybe talking about the other side or doing posts that seem like the opposite of your beliefs, but there's probably some overlap that they just don't know how to pull out, that might be that area for you to really get leeway with them in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep encouraging my white friends, please reach into the deep recesses of your empathy and love for your white peers.
That was a big learning. That was a big remembering reminder of that. I have to have my full tank, and my access to white groups and white spaces is my part in this. And what you said too, in terms of I'm hearing a lot of folks, and some of the folks I've talked to, especially white folks, like, I just don't want to say it wrong, or I don't want to make a mistake. And part of being anti-racist, wanting to be about the movement, wanting to be better and stand up against racism is being in the muck and potentially making mistakes. Not potentially, you are. You're gonna make a mistake, and that's okay. That's how we learn. That's how we grow, and it's a part of it. And that's what I've also had to learn, and I've shared this here before too. Like, I'm not gonna die. My body is telling me I'm uncomfortable, and I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, that's good. Can you expand more on that? I'm not gonna die. What do you mean by that? Like, what does that comment hold?
That comment holds the my white experience of my, like, the real feeling of the right to comfort in white supremacy culture is a trait of white supremacy culture. And for me, kind of, I've been talking through, and I have to always like think through with myself of when I'm talking about race, when I'm actively trying to engage in conversation or ask questions or have someone consider how they're being racist, I have a full body reaction. And I get sweaty and my mouth goes dry, and my body reacts in a way that, oh my gosh, I'm unsafe. And it can feel sometimes like I can't breathe, and I can't, I'm just like overwhelmed with emotions again of not doing it right, of perfectionism. Like, there's just a whole bunch like that will come through, and when I was still learning and figuring this out, it kept me out of, or like decapitated, or what's the word?
Decapitated.
Yeah, debilitated. Woo, debilitated. Yeah. That's not the word. Yikes. Words coming out. Debilitated me. And so noticing when that's starting to happen for me, and like, again, like a little child, like my nervous system has to grow up. Mm-hmm. Like being uncomfortable is okay. And that's, to me, that's some of the biggest like somatic work that white folks have to do, that I have to continue to do and be curious about.
That's so good, Maren. You're not going to die, even though your body is literally telling you that you will. It's having a very similar reaction to if you were in real danger and there's a bear chasing you.
And the real, like, we have like question the real like racial narratives that might exist in some of that. Yeah, it's a lot.
It is. Yeah, I think something you were saying stuck out to me. Oh, I guess from a person of color perspective, a Latina perspective, another thing that I've been hearing from non-Black people of color is also, what do I say?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to say it wrong.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to mess it up, or I don't post at all. So why would I post now? It feels ingenuine. I have so many thoughts on that. But the biggest one I've been telling to anybody who's told me that this week is, what I know from my Black friends is that they are looking to us. And when I say us, I mean anyone who's not Black, especially non-Black POC, to determine whether or not we are for the cause of Black Lives Matter, and AKA their lives on the line. And when we're silent, one, it's like we're communicating that we are complicit with what is going on. We're complicit with the murders of Black people in this country. And two, we become viewed as unsafe because there's a lot of Latinx people, Asian people, non-Black POC that are either closeted racists or even starting to be more white supremacists that have voted for Trump, that have done all these things where they really would put a Black person's life in danger if it came to that. And so our Black community members are looking at us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, on all these different things and being like, are you saying anything? Are you doing anything? Because if you're not, noted. Next time we're at work together or whatever, like, I'm not really sure if I could trust you. And I know I'm speaking from a Black perspective that I've heard, Black perspectives that I heard. So take that with a grain of salt, please. And also know that we are accountable for our actions, what we say and what we don't say right now.
Yeah, there's consequences either way, right? And we've kind of been talking about that too, like damn if you do, damn if you don't. But yeah, folks are watching, folks are wondering if they can trust you. And if it's not that you feel like you know, social media is your avenue, that's okay too. But then you really have to have that reflection and, you know, like question yourself. So then what am I doing? What is my role in this? Is it donating? Do I have funds that I can donate? Can I help with supplies? Can I be calling senators, governor, you know, like, can I be on the phone? What are the things that are like, what is my lane? And if you are posting on social media, just out of that feeling of like also maybe get curious about that, right? Like there is that real pressure to be out there, and also you can decipher where your energy and what your gifts are and what your place is in this.
Yeah, and I think to push people a step further, if you're asking, I don't know if I should post because it's not really on brand. This is more so like Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, maybe some baby boomers, but mostly this crowd of like younger people. I hear this behind closed doors. I don't know if it's like on brand for me to do that. Maybe you're not even saying on brand, but you're saying it would be weird. It would be uncommon with what? Uncomfortable, but like inconsistent with the rest of what I'm saying. Please ask yourself, why is talking about racism or the fact that Black Lives Matter not on brand for you? What does that say about where you're at with things? What does that say? Our brands talk to our character. Our brands talk to our values. Our brands talk to what we really care about. We're posting about what we're passionate about, what's really on our radar. And if this is not on your radar, if anti-racism, anti-Blackness, if anti-oppression is not on your radar and it's not already in your feeds and Instagram grids and blah, 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 why is that? That question.
Lots of things to get curious about.
Yeah.
Lots of things to hold in humility around.
Yeah. I hear that a lot from Instagram people. And I know this is Facebook, but there are ways, like I've seen people on their Instagrams create posts that are still in line with either their coaching businesses or it's mainly professionals. If it's your personal grid, do something, please. But professionals, like you can talk to it from your lens. You can integrate your knowledge. Like if you're a psychologist, if you're a counselor, if you're a Reiki practitioner, you can add some of the tools that you have that could help people right now, along with an explicit statement, not this roundabout, I know things are hard in the world right now. Not that. I am for Black Lives Matter. And because of that, I want to say this, and offer this. Like, yeah. That's the kind of advocacy, allyship that I'm looking for us to really move into right now. because we're so online right now.
I just want to sing, this world is on fire. Yeah.
Yeah. First it was the coronavirus. Now it feels like
we've forgotten about it.
now there might be a race war. I'm afraid to see what happens in June. Apparently there's cicadas living underground. Have you seen that?
What?
Like, yeah. There's like this news thing is like, these cicadas have been living underground for the past million years, but they're said to have a new awakening or and come up from the ground this year or something. Anyway, this is off topic from.
Don't get it twisted though, right? Like we are in the midst of like systems, society, like things are going to change. We are changing. Whether you like it or not, it is changing. And you have a choice to make on where you are in this.
Because like Mother Earth is like forcing it.
Don't get it twisted.
Like, if you think you're going to be able to go back, sorry, no, I'm getting passionate with you, interrupting you. Do you think you're going to be able to go back to your old favorite sushi restaurant? Speaking of myself, sad day, but no, it's not going to be there like it was. There's not going to be business as usual. We're entering a new time. Every 500 years or so, there's like dramatic change in the world. Look that up.
Look that up.
500-year cycle for something big to happen. When we talk about astrology, Maren sent me something around the planetary positions, if you believe in all that, and we are poised. We have a show of revival and change. Hopefully in a good way, though.
And we want to be there for you in this. Like we want to walk with you in this. And so again, we have offerings, we do coaching. Please reach out.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Yeah, that again. Let's breathe.
If you're watching this now, later, tomorrow, some other time, like, and you're in this fight around anti-racism and anti-oppression, and maybe you're feeling the weight of your marginalized identities, you're not alone. Like, we are here for you, whether we know you personally or not. We want to know you personally. We want to help provide a space for you. And if it's not you, for your uncles and your sisters and your bosses and this and that, and all these people who need this work, like that's one thing I'm recognizing. Building Bridges is a lane in all of the activism going on. It's not the protest lane, but it's another lane of long-term education development around inclusion and equity. And so we want to be a resource to you all. We're in the process of updating our website so it reflects all that and all the things that we're offering, but we work with youth and adults. We have a pipeline of ages that we work with, and we would love to be supporting you in this. And I hope that these long-winded Wednesdays and the different videos we're doing can just be ongoing education and community for you all.
Yes.
Okay, check out.
It's like feeling word.
You want to do a feeling word or a checkout question?
Checkout question. You got a question?
I don't.
I don't know. I just feel like it's more of a like intention to like, what are you gonna keep with you, y'all? What are you gonna like? What are you gonna do? What's your point? Like, what's your part in this? What are you noticing? What are you recognizing? What are the places that you know you don't know and you need some support and like need to dig deeper in terms of knowledge? And where is it that, yeah, just kind of like hold the muck.
Yeah. That's good.
We're with you in the muck.
What?
We're with you in the muck.
We're with you in the muck.
We come back next week and continue to talk about this and how it's showing up within us and what we're, new learnings and noticings.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah. We feeling words. To check out, I am feeling more at peace after being able to talk through all this. Less riled up. I'm feeling focused. I'm feeling determined. I'm feeling ready.
Yeah, I feel a little more neutralized as well. Just, yeah, I feel grounded and I don't know, I just feel very like very clear on my role. And there's no good words or like feeling for that, but just feeling convicted in that.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to end the live on here. Stop live stream. Goodbye.